everyone, Andrew here, and things are just about back to normal. I mean, the schedule's kind of back to normal now with random games of the day on Monday and Tuesday. And now display videos are finally back on Wednesday, although I know this isn't the normal background because, of course, a lot of work still has to be done. I mean, I finally got the couch cleaned off, so I can finally sit on that again, although there's still quite a mess in the background over there. So I figured just for fun I would try turning the couch so that my NES games are in the background, and it actually looks pretty cool, I think. I probably won't do this too much, though. But, still, I think it actually does make quite a nice background. I'm going to be looking to the left a lot, because when I usually do my videos, I usually have the TV in front of me, which I hook my camera up to, so I can kind of see what I'm recording on the big screen. That makes it really easy to kind of see what I'm holding up and stuff like that. But because the couch is in a different place, the TV is actually to my left now. So I'm probably going to be looking over there a lot to make sure that everything I hold up is showing up well on the screen. But yeah, so for today's display video, I figured since it's been so long since I've really made any videos like this, that I would do a pickup video. Just because it's been like a month since my last one, and I've just picked up quite a few things since then, so I figured it would be best to get a pickup video out of the way so that I can start collecting a bit of some things again, so that I'll be able to make another one in the future. But yeah, overall I actually picked up quite a few things since the last pickup video I made, which I believe was the one after the swap meet. Just about all the things that I've picked up are games. I mean, there's like two things that aren't games in this whole set, which you'll see as I'm showing things. But overall, I mean, tons of games, and the majority of them are PlayStation and PlayStation 2, which is kind of funny. I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden I ended up getting so many of those. But just overall, I mean, I was finding them everywhere. The first half of the things I'm going to show are just things I find at like thrift stores and other places like that. And the second half of the things I'm going to show are from when I raided this guy's basement. I mean, what I mean by that, there was this guy on Kijiji, and he had an ad up, and Kijiji's kind of like the Craigslist thing, where people just put up their local ads and things like that. And he said, all the ads said it was video games sale, and the description was like, I'm selling off my old video games, contact me for details. And I mean, I'm sure a lot of people just kind of turned away at that, because I mean, this guy sounds so dumb. I mean, like, why doesn't he list what he has? So I mean, I contacted him, and what it turned out to be, it was a guy who was renting out a basement. He had a whole bunch of video games, and he was moving, so he was selling off all the video games before he moved. So I mean, I don't know if that means he was moving to like a smaller basement or something like that, so he couldn't take the video games with him, but I got some awesome deals from this guy, so you will see those in the second half. But yeah, the first half are just things I've picked up all over the place. Thrift stores, garage sales, even from Zellers. I mean, Zellers is where I've been getting all these cabinets from. They were kind of like a Canadian chain of stores, kind of like Walmart, but usually a lot more expensive and not as nice. So what's it called? Yeah, so they closed down, and that's where I got the cabinets from. And they've been selling off all their stuff for really good prices. So I mean, as the store gets closer to closing, things go on bigger and bigger discounts. So I got a few PlayStation 2 games from them for like $2 a piece. But overall, that's not all the PlayStation 2 games I have to show. There's some from a whole bunch of different places. So I believe we'll get started with that. Let's see. The stack is so tall. If I pull it over here, can you maybe see it? No, you still can't see it. But anyway, all right. You have a stack of like, I don't know, almost like 20 PlayStation 2 games, and there's still some in the set they got for the other guy. But anyway, that's enough talking. It's been like 4 minutes now of just talking. Let's get to the actual games. First game is God of War. And it's funny because in the last pickup video, I actually got the God of War collection for PlayStation 3. But now, I have the 2 originals for PlayStation 2 as well, which is cool. Because, I mean, collections are neat, but it's always more fun to have the original, I think. So yeah, those 2. Next game is Gran Turismo 3. I've never actually seen Gran Turismo 3 before, which is funny. I've seen 4 like all over the place, but I don't know, is 3 rare? I'm actually not quite sure. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I mean, is this like a sequel to like just normal Wolfenstein? I mean, I've never actually played this. I think I've heard of it before. Maybe I should have just read the back. Anyway, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Oh yeah, I meant to take this one out. Sly Cooper, although unfortunately, it is just the case. There's no game in it. Luckily, I didn't buy like the case. I noticed it was empty because I always check discs and stuff now. So luckily, I noticed that the disc wasn't in there. But I just asked them if I could have the empty case, just in case I ever came across the disc, and they gave it to me. So that was quite nice of them. Next game, EverQuest. online adventures, I know EverQuest was like that online game. I mean, not just the PlayStation 2 one, obviously. I never actually really played it though, so I don't really know anything about EverQuest. And I don't know if this game was only online or if it has a single player mode as well. It says one player. But I mean, I guess it could be one player online. I don't know. Anyway, next thing is Tony Hawk's Underground 2 soundtrack. So I mean, I know it's not a video game, but I mean, it's the soundtrack for a video game, and I actually quite like soundtracks, and when I do come across them at thrift stores and things like that, I do make an effort to pick them up, because they're usually pretty cool. I have a few other ones, like I have a Majora's Mask soundtrack, and a few other cool ones too. Let's see what we got here. We have PlayStation Underground Jam Pack. Jam Packs are neat. There were these things, I actually don't remember them ever being sold in stores. I guess it was something I never really looked for. Since I didn't really get a PlayStation 2 until late. I know there was some for PlayStation 1 as well. I mean, like you can see at the top, $7.99. I guess you could buy them, and then you just got a whole bunch of different demos and stuff for different games you could try out. Of course, nowadays they would just be like on the PlayStation Store and stuff like that for you to download and try. But it's still neat to have the jam packs. It's neat to see what things used to look like. I don't know if the jam packs are included in sort of like the list of all the PlayStation 2 games ever released or not. But they're still neat to have either way. I still think that they're neat to collect. Another jam pack. This one has Jak and Daxter in the bottom there. It's pretty neat. And here's another jam pack. This one is actually still sealed. I mean, it kind of seems like it's that resealed. Although I think if you look underneath, yeah, you can still see where it actually has like the real seal underneath. I don't know why they bother putting like the cheaper seal on top of it then. But yeah, another jam pack. And this was actually one of the games I got from Zellers. Zellers had a whole bunch of games ranged between like 10 and 20 bucks, but they were 80% off, and they're all sealed. So I took advantage of that and grabbed quite a few that I didn't have. So that was one of them, which I believe that one I only paid like $2 for. Ape Escape 3. The seal's not perfect, but I might end up opening this game anyway, because Ape Escape 1 was amazing. I actually still haven't beat it. I have to get around to that. But yeah, 19 bucks, so at 80% off. It's only like $4. Great deal for it. I believe it still has the real seal underneath, and it even has like that French instruction book. I mean, it makes sense when they do that kind of like lighter seal on top, when they're trying to put in the bilingual instruction book with it. Although, I don't really understand why they bother if it doesn't have an instruction book like that. Anyway, next thing is Bratz the Movie, my favorite game. No, it was $2, so I grabbed it. I don't know, I really felt like this collecting for PlayStation 2. I mean, my PlayStation 1 and 2 collections have never been that big. I mean, when I say that, I mean they're about 100 games each, but I mean when you compare that to like my NES collection of like 655, it's not overly large, especially when you consider that there's like, it's like 1,500 PlayStation 2 games or something like that. So don't have very many of them, so that's why when I had a really good opportunity to grab something like this, I definitely jumped on it. Because I never like missing an opportunity to increase the collection like that. Anyway, Rainbow Six 3 for it was also $9.99, but it was like 80% off. And those are all that I got from Zellers actually. Yeah, so those were actually pretty decent deals. If you have a Zellers in your area, not all of them are closing down yet. And when they start closing down, the games will be like 10% off or something like that. But really, just wait a couple of weeks and they will go down significantly if there is one in your area. Next game is... obviously, I know it, but I'm just looking at something on the cover. Rad! Looks like a pretty interesting game. Definitely has that anime influence to it. It's pretty cool, and it is complete, which is actually pretty neat. I've never heard of this game before. Weird. Let's see, maybe I'll put these over here. Let me just clean up a bit. Kind of have a whole bunch of stuff to show on the couch. Yeah, I miss the couch. That's why I hate making videos when I don't have the couch. Because, I mean, I play so much stuff on it, and it's just great. Everything's nice and reachable. But, I mean, I was, like, on a folding chair over there, and it wasn't going very well. The next few games, you're going to notice, say 606 on them. But I definitely didn't pay anywhere near 606. I actually only paid $150 because Goodwill had them at 75% off. Because what happens is, Goodwill kind of has their display cabinet at the front near the cash register. I'm sure a lot of people who go to Goodwills will know what I'm talking about. So they usually put their like PlayStation 2 games and other DVDs and stuff in there. But when they really overprice them like this, they don't sell. So what Goodwill eventually does, like every 2 months or so, they'll have a 75% off for everything in that cabinet sale to kind of get rid of all the stuff that seems like it's never going anywhere. So when games are 606 and they don't move, those usually stay there until they go 75% off, and I'll grab them at that point. So yeah, ATV 2 for only $1.50 because it was 75% off. Another one in the cabinet, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. Another one, it's a sports game, but it was $1.50, and when usually $2 or less is my like kind of limit for sports games. And even then, sometimes I'll pass. But either way, in any case, this was only $1.50. So NHL 07, American Idol. I wonder if that's worth anything, considering that they're like all like not best friends anymore or something like that. Anyway, Reservoir Dogs. Never heard of this one. Doesn't feel like it has the instruction book. No. But yeah, never really heard of this game. Looks pretty interesting anyway. And yeah, that was it for in the case there. So that's all the ones that had 606 on them. So I mean, Goodwill. I mean, I don't know what they think sometimes when they price their games. I mean, even the Value Village in my area now, all the PlayStation 2 games and GameCube games and stuff like that, they all have like $7.99 stickers on them. I mean, just whoever's pricing these things is ridiculous. Anyway, we're almost done with PlayStation 2. For now, anyway, before I get to the stuff I picked up from that guy's house. 4 more games to go. Lord of the Rings, Return of the Kings, Fire Warrior, Dynasty Warriors 5, Empires, and if you notice the stickers at the top from EV Games or GameStop, I did not actually buy these from there, so I did not pay $32 for this game. The receipt for it actually is still in here though, which is kind of funny. They bought it back in like 2008 or something like that. But yeah, I didn't buy anything from EV Games. Just there's a few other games as well that kind of had where you could see stickers should have been taken off. Those were just there when I bought them from thrift stores. It's not because I actually bought them from EV Games. And the last PlayStation 2 game for now, and one I've heard a lot about but haven't tried yet, and I will need to try in the very near future, Shadow of the Colossus. Now I know I've heard very good things about this game. I haven't actually tried it yet. I hope it works, because there's actually a pretty good gouge out of the CD. Trying to get it out of the case here. But, I mean, considering I've heard so many good things about it, I definitely wanted to take my chances with it, because I've had some pretty badly scratched games before that did work. So I'm definitely going to give it a shot, and hopefully that works. Like I said, it was definitely worth taking the chance, if it's as good of a game as I've always heard everyone say it is. But yeah, that's it for PlayStation 2 for now. Like, how many was that? It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I think that's like 23 games right there for PlayStation 2. So my collection definitely just grew quite a bit there, which is awesome. Because, like I said, definitely didn't have too many PlayStation 2 games. Oh wait, no, one of these cases was the soundtrack disc for Tony Hawk's Underground 2. So only 22 games, but either way, it's still good. Next thing we're going to move on to is some Sega Genesis games. Now, I don't pick up Sega Genesis games too often, which is actually kind of funny. I mean, I don't see ones that I need too often. Usually I see a lot of things like the Sonics and the sports games and stuff like that. And then the sports games are like $5, so I don't even touch them. But I actually did find quite a few that I did not have. One of them, Family Feud, Clue, Gods, which actually looks like fairly interesting games. I have not tried all of these games out yet. And Maximum Carnage. And yeah, it definitely looks like quite an interesting game. And it even has the red cartridge, which is really nice. I always love cartridge variants, like different colored cartridges. Like you see them for like the N64. You have like the Pokemon Stadium 2 cartridges, like gold and silver, and Donkey Kong 64 is yellow. I've always loved things like that. But yeah, so Sega Genesis there, although a few more Sega Genesis games in a bag like one of these. You see these at Value Village and some other stores where they put like a few games into a bag and then charge one price for the whole bag. And that's usually annoying because usually there'll be like one game in the bag that you need and then like 2 that you don't. And then they still want you to pay like $6 or something for it. But this one was actually a good deal. There was 3 games in this one, and I actually didn't have any of them. One of them is Cosmic Space Head. Definitely a very weird shaped cartridge for the for the Genesis. At first I thought it was an Aladdin cart for the NES because the Linus Space Head is actually an Aladdin game. I mean, I guess that's kind of where the design comes from. Because they were both the Aladdin cartridges for the NES and this Genesis cartridge were both made by Codemasters. A lot of people probably don't know what I'm talking about as far as Aladdin carts go. I actually have one right here. There were these things that, used the Aladdin Deck Enhancer on the NES. And it was kind of this idea that there would be this one kind of cartridge, and all of these smaller cartridges would fit into it, so that it would kind of save on production costs for the cartridge. So that basically they would never have to always remake the big part. People would just buy that, and then the smaller cartridges would go into that, and then the whole thing would go into your NES. It was a really weird idea. If I knew where my deck enhancer was, I'd go grab it, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I think it's actually on the pinball machine. But anyway, I'm going on about this too much anyway. So I'm going to put that back for now. But yeah, so Cosmic Spacehead, one of the Genesis games. General Chaos. No idea what this game is. You can tell it's an EA game because they're taller cartridge for some reason, which makes them really hard to organize when you have like some cartridges jutting out for absolutely no reason. And really nasty, dirty, I'm dropping everything today. Sports game, All-Star Baseball 2000, and as you can see, it's like property of Blockbuster. It says at the top. You might not be able to see it, but it's overall really disgusting. But it just came in the bag with it, or else I never would have bothered buying it separately. But yeah, those are the Genesis games, and only N64 game that I picked up over the course of the last month, which is kind of funny. I mean, you figure I'd run into more. But overall, I mean, I'm surprised that I got as much as I did. I mean, the stores around here lately have just been, like, really dry. I mean, it's actually really hard to find stuff these days. I remember back when I started collecting, there was, like, no competition. And every day you'd find something that you need. I mean, of course, that's also because there's a lot less things I need these days. I mean, I see a lot of NES, I do see quite a few NES games, but I mean, they're never ones I need anymore. Speaking of NES games, we might as well get to those next. The first, I picked up 3 NES games. I mean, it's not really that many. I mean, I was like at 600 back in January. Now I'm at 655, although things are really starting to slow down. I mean, it's really, really slow. But the first one is Kid Nicky, and I actually picked this one up at Anime North. And if I ever get those Anime North videos up, you will see that in the video. I mean, people say just let it upload. Like I said, it took like one of the videos I had ready. It was going to take like 50 hours to upload, and people are saying, okay, we'll just like start the upload and then just let it go. But that was only the first part. Because the problem with the Anime North videos is that I kind of made everything in sequence. Like everything was supposed to lead up to the next thing. And I kind of got carried away, and there ended up being like 5 hours of footage. So if I just drop in different things, it's not really going to make sense. And on top of that, my original plan was to have like a separate video for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But, I mean, the Friday video, which was the shortest day, it's over an hour long. So, I mean, I still don't know what I'm going to do about that. I'm just going to probably throw together a whole bunch of random stuff. And it won't make any sense, but at least people will get to see a bit of what Anime North was like. But yeah, like I said, Kid Nicky was one of the games I picked up at Anime North. Another NES game I picked up, not at Anime North, is Blues Brothers. Never actually seen this one anywhere before, so I was very happy to get my hands on that. And another one is Mule, M-U-L-E. I have actually no idea what this game is about. I haven't really had a chance to try or put away anything since my whole area over here has been destroyed for like almost a month. But yeah, those are the only NES games I got. Definitely some probably not too easy to find. I mean, I know Kid Nicky. It's actually not the rarest game out there. I mean, on my list it was like a C rarity, and that was like only one of the last C's I still had to find. So I mean, I'm not quite sure why it took me so long to get my hands on it. It just did. Anyway, let's see. Only a few more things to show here before we move on to sort of the other thing, and we're almost at 20 minutes already. Darn. Anyway, one more thing I picked up at Anime North was Donkey Konga 2, and I mean, Donkey Konga is not the funnest game in the slightest. It's interesting, but I mean, it's kind of weird to go out of my way and pick it up at a place like Anime North. I don't know why. I think it's just because I kind of wanted the complete set of like the Donkey Kong Bongo games, because I had Donkey Konga 1 and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat already, so I figured just pick this up. So like I said, I have every single game that was released for the Donkey Kong Bongos ever. I don't know why I want to be able to say that. I mean, it's not really something to be that proud of, I guess, but anyway. And the last GameCube game I picked up is Odama, and this thing has tons of stickers all over the place here. You can see it was from Zellers. It was like $30, but then it was like 80% off. And I've seen this game a lot. I mean, Zellers must have just bought like millions of these, because ever since this game came out, I've always seen Zellers have like 50 of them. So, I mean, I never wanted to pay like $50 like it says there. So, I mean, finally, when it went on sale so much, I mean, I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to get a big boxed GameCube game. It's a bit rough since it looks like it's been thrown around a bit over the years, but it is actually still sealed on top. So, that's actually pretty neat. And even though I'll probably never open it, it is just one of those neat things to add to your collection. Next two things are actually kind of odd. They're like the odd things out because they don't really go with anything else. One is Tony Hawk's Underground 2 for the original Xbox. I guess that can go with that soundtrack, even though I think that was for the PlayStation 2 version, or it was just the general version. Maybe they did go together, but it's just the black case throws it off of it. But yeah, either way, that's the only Xbox game I picked up. Tony Hawk's Underground 2. The other thing I picked up is Super Monkey Ball for the N-Gage. Now, the N-Gage is a really weird thing. It was like a phone combined with the gaming system. It's really weird. But overall, it does have an $8 sticker on there, which looks like it might cause some damage if I take it off, so I haven't bothered to yet. I actually didn't pay $8 for this, though. I don't know if you can see on the end there. But, no, it's not going to show up. But I actually picked this up from a place called Cash Converters, and they're kind of like a chain of pawn shops. And Cash Converters is notorious for having some of the most overpriced video games ever, so I never go in there and buy things without trying to bargain first. So it was $8, and I went to a Cash Converters I'd never been to before, and it was completely empty. I mean, it didn't look like anyone had been in there for like months. So I saw this, and I'm like, is there any chance you can go a bit cheaper on it? I mean, it's probably been here forever. Yeah, it says December 26th, 2011. So I mean, it's been there for about half a year. So I was thinking, if it's $5, I'll buy it. I actually only have one other N-Gage game, and it's Tomb Raider. And I paid $5 for that. I actually don't even have an N-Gage, so I can't play them. But I mean, it's still neat to get the games in case I someday do get one. So she went and took it, saw what she could do. I'm like, okay, if she goes down to 5, I'll probably buy it. And then she said 3, so I'm like, okay. So I ended up getting a pretty good deal for it. So despite the fact that it says 8, I actually did get $5 off. So $3 for Super Monkey Ball for the N-Gage. I mean, they're not things you really see every day. I mean, I've only ever seen 2 N-Gage games out there in the wild, and I've picked up both so far. So I mean, they're probably not the most common thing, considering I don't think the N-Gage sold very well in the slightest. The last thing I have to show I picked up is actually like one of the only things that's not a game, and that is a Wii remote nunchuck. Really interesting. I mean, the thumbstick kind of yellow, but it's still better than paying like $30 or whatever kind of rip-off price they're charging for a new one. I mean, gaming controllers these days are just ridiculous. I remember when they used to be like $30, but now they're charging like $60 to $70. By the time you pay tax, it's like $70 for controllers these days. And then I just can't be bothered to buy them new anymore. But the interesting thing is about finding a nunchuck at like a Goodwill. I mean, when I first started collecting, I remember how weird it was to find things from like GameCube, PS2, and Xbox, which were like the current generations at the time. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, why are people donating things like a Wii nunchuck? I mean, it's not like it's really that old. I mean, it's still, like, can be generally used today and even sold, but I'm not quite sure why people would donate it. I mean, I've been seeing a lot more, like, more modern things being donated now. I mean, I even saw a PS3 once, which was likely broken. I didn't take my chances on it. But, I mean, I haven't seen PS3 games. I've been seeing, like, Wii controllers and stuff, so it is weird that people are actually starting to donate stuff like that for some reason. Not quite sure why. But anyway, I've been talking a lot in like 20 minutes. But what's it called? That is it for the stuff on the couch. The stuff I've picked up at like thrift stores and Zelders and other places. One second. One other thing that I talked about at the beginning of the video, and that was I went to this guy's basement. Yeah, I went to his basement. I don't know what that was about. And he had a whole bunch of games. Well, I mean, a whole bunch. He had quite a few PlayStation 1 and 2 games and a few other odds and ends. And he was trying to sell them all off. So, I mean, no one else had checked this guy out because his Kijiji ad was absolutely terrible. But, I mean, I got there, I saw quite a few things I wanted, and I'm like, so, how much are you looking for? He said, the games are $1 each. And that's amazing when you see some of the stuff I got. So they were $1 each with a few exceptions. I mean, you kind of have the Goodwill mentality where if it's more than one disc, it probably means it's rare. So, I mean, I ended up paying like $5 or $10 for a few things, but considering I got the majority of these games for $1 each, I got a fantastic deal. And we're going to start with bag number 1 out of 3. This whole thing is big box PlayStation 1 games. And I mean, big box PlayStation 1 games are not very common. And even if you do find them, there's a chance you're probably not going to get them for very cheap. Depending on which ones they are anyway. But I mean, some of these look like they're definitely worth a lot more than $1. The problem is I'm going to butcher the names really bad. Battle Arena Toshinden. Toshinden. Needed to take a second to spell that. Anyway, Battle Arena Toshinden 2. I believe there's actually another one in the series in there too. I mean, it's a fighting game. No idea what how rare it is, but it's still really neat to get. And then yeah, of course we're going to see some sports games and stuff too. NHL Face Off, and yeah, it should be noted that pretty much all of the games are actually quite close to complete. Like most of them have the book, and they all of course have the disc and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, the book is kind of on the side over here. And overall, this guy did take decent care of his games. Let's see, so yeah, NHL Face Off. Let's try to get these off to the side. The Need for Speed, Road Track, I believe, Road and Track. I'm actually not quite sure. Is this like the first Need for Speed? I have no idea. Interesting. I don't know that much about Need for Speed actually. Next one here, we have Wipeout, Warhawk. The top sticker kind of thing is coming off just a bit, although it does stick down. I mean, I need to like permanently glue it, because it does keep coming up. Assault Rigs. This one's also coming up a bit. I mean, I guess the glue kind of sucked on him. Siberia. I actually have this game for the 3DO. Return Fire. This one has a fake kind of manual thing in it, but the game actually is in it. X Games. Jupiter Strike. Just trying to fix that. Not quite sure what is... There we go. It's kind of stuck. Yeah, this was the one where it's kind of weird. There's like a block of wood underneath the disc here, and this is kind of like slid up, and it kind of left a bit of a sticky mark underneath here. I'm not quite sure why the glue actually came undone. Maybe it was warm or something and the glue kind of melted. I'm actually not quite sure. Don't let the games tip over here. Alien Trilogy. And the last one, Doom. Now this Doom is actually quite beat up, doesn't even include the manual or anything, but I actually did get 2 copies of Doom. Yeah, this is the second one now over here. And this one is pretty much mint and complete. It's very hard to open these and show them. Complete with manual and even the piece of foam in there to keep everything nice and safe. The reason he had 2 Dooms, and it's really interesting because I never knew this, was when you look on the back, it says link cable to consoles. And so what you can do is if you have 2 PlayStations and 2 copies of Doom and a cable, I can kind of connect them together that I didn't even know existed, because there's kind of like an expansion port on the back of some PlayStations. Some of them actually didn't have it. I guess maybe the later ones, since they weren't really using it anymore, they didn't bother putting it on. But some PlayStations do have this kind of serial port, so I guess you can kind of use get a cable that connects one PlayStation to another, so you can actually play 2-player Doom, and each person has their own screen. That would be absolutely awesome. So yeah, he had 2 copies of Doom, so I definitely grabbed both. Just in case I do ever find that cable, I will definitely be trying that out, because that sounds absolutely awesome. I mean, I would love to try that. I definitely need to keep an eye out for that cable. Maybe even I should check the internet or something like that, because it'd be totally worth getting it if it was a good price, as I would love to try that. Anyway, so yeah, so that was the first bag. The good Doom was from the second bag, so we're going to move on to the second bag now. None of them are as big as the other one. But yeah, so far, every single one of those big box PlayStation 1 games was $1. Resident Evil 2 complete. He charged me $5 for this one, although I mean it has the manual and everything, and the discs are in good shape. So I mean, I had no problem picking that up, considering I was getting such a good deal for everything else. I wasn't going to complain about $5 for a game that's definitely worth it anyway. C12, Final Resistance. Oh god, I have to do this again. Battle Arena Toshinden 3 has a price sticker of $25 on it, although I did not pay that. PlayStation Underground Jam Pack. I'm not quite sure which version this one is. Probably missing it somewhere massive. Unless it's like the first one, which would be interesting. Although I don't believe it is. Not quite sure. $4.99 US or Canada $7.99. Man, it's amazing how different the dollar used to be. Duke Nukem Total Meltdown. I actually don't have too many Duke Nukem games. And I know my friend Fabio is a massive fan of them. I'm going to have to invite him over and we'll give this game a shot. So I actually don't know anything about it. NHL Power Play 96. I paid $10 for this. A PlayStation Collector's Edition that includes 007 Racing, Medal of Honor, and 007 Tomorrow Never Dies. And they're all on the side there, all complete. So that was a pretty good deal, I think. Next, Soul Calibur 3. Oh, there's even the... Oh, yeah. There's another big box PlayStation game. Bust-A-Move 2. And for the Saturn, Bug. Complete and everything. Oh, yeah, and also a Tomb Raider memory card. I mean, this has to be kind of rare, right? I mean, looks like a promotional thing. I doubt it's that common. So I paid $1 for that. I think it's definitely worth it. Alright, one more bag to go. What do we have in this one? Alright, save that for last. Move these things off to the side. A few more PlayStation games. If I can get a good grip on them and not drop them on the floor. Awesome, okay. Bushido Blade. Silent Hill #1. Panzer Dragoon. Another Jam Pack. And Crouching Tiger, a Hidden Dragon. I have no idea what kind of game this is, but I didn't have it, so I picked it up. And I believe that's it for PlayStation 1 and 2, although we are not done with PlayStation just yet, because there actually is one more PlayStation-related thing, but not PlayStation 1 or 2 that I have to show. Anyway, another thing I picked up from him are some Atari games. Just 4 Atari games I didn't have. Cosmic Creeps. Private Eye. Video Olympics. And Fast Food. So, I mean, even for $1 each, I didn't mind picking these up because I was just in such a good mood after getting everything else. Plus, it's always neat to pick up some Atari games that I don't have. Anyway, the very last thing I have to show in this pickup video, which has gone on for about half an hour now, from the same guy, I got Killzone Liberation, Tiger Woods PGA Tour, and Castlevania The Dracula X Chronicles, which is very cool because this is like a remake of the Super Nintendo version that's like super rare. I got these 3 games for free when I bought this. Now this is super cool, and I paid $20 for this, including the games, and this is a white PSP Slim, and it's actually the Star Wars version. Now, I've actually never seen this before. I don't even have any kind of PSP in this version. I only have the original fat one. So, I mean, I was super excited to pick this up. Just because, like I said, I didn't have any of these games. I didn't have a PSP Slim, and I mean, it has to be hard to get your hands on the what's it called? The Star Wars PSP. Also, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories was in there. In the PSP. It doesn't have a case, unfortunately, but it was in the PSP. So yeah, I mean, I definitely had to pick this up, because I mean, I'm sure that this can't be that common, right? But anyway, super excited about that, and even the games alone, I mean, I'm actually quite looking forward to playing this. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, that is my adventure of going to this guy's basement and buying a whole ton of his stuff for awesome prices. And that is just about everything that I have picked up in the last month. There actually are a few other things that I unfortunately put away. and some other things, which, who knows, they might still be lying around somewhere, and I'll find them as I'm cleaning up more. But overall, that's the real meat of it. So, not too much NES, unfortunately, because as everyone probably knows, NES is kind of like my main goal, but I mean, of course, as you get up there, things are going to slow down a bit. So, I mean, 655 of those, but I mean, a whole bunch more PlayStation games. I mean, big box PlayStation games are so cool. I only had like 6 of them before, so I mean, I like quadrupled my collection. It's absolutely awesome. And I'm super excited to get my hands on these. I might have to go and look up just how many big box PlayStation games there were. I might have almost all of them now. Who knows? But anyway, that was super cool. And I was super happy to get my hands on all this stuff. That was absolutely awesome. So that's why it's definitely worth checking out things like Craigslist and stuff like that, because you never know what kind of awesome deals you're going to get. I mean, that's basically where a lot of my stuff has been coming from lately. I mean, thrift stores haven't been delivering. So, I mean, things like Craigslist, I mean, you will find good deals on there. I mean, there will be people who are obvious resellers trying to sell things for way too much, but you will find the odd person who's just looking to sell off some stuff, and you'll get some great deals from them. So, like, it's definitely worth checking out. But anyway, I think that's all I'm going to do for this video. Hope everyone enjoyed that. Hope everyone, yeah. I hope everything turned out well. It was, again, kind of weird recording here. Kind of weird having the TV over to the left. And for some reason, my mouth got really dry. So, I mean, I needed to take a lot of drinks, and overall, I don't know, just my throat's kind of dry today. But anyway, I believe that's going to be all for this video. So now we have all the pickups out of the way. Now I can start collecting more stuff for a new pickup video, and other display videos will be things that are more original. Video responses, if there are any, will be moved to the weekend, like before. So, yeah, if there's going to be video responses, expect to see them then. But anyway, I believe that's going to be all for today's video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you next time for something different. So thanks, and see you then.